Welcome back to the broadcast, and we're back with Nev Schulman, author of Real Life Love, Lies, and Identity in the Digital Age. And I was reading this book last night. I had never heard of the word catfish before, so that was my first, like, what? What does this mean? Actually, what it means, it applies to everybody. This kind of stuff goes on even in younger ages that we don't even really want to admit, but it kind of goes across the board.
It does. In fact, I get dozens of emails every day from people, young and old, but often teenagers, 12, 13 years old, saying, I just started talking to this guy on Facebook and I'm in love with him.
Wow.
But the problem is he lives really far away. Can you help me? And whether that guy or girl is lying or not, I don't know, but we're developing these very real relationships now virtually at very young ages, and it's just an interesting new landscape.
Sorry, I was gonna
We
say
all
that.
have questions.
Yeah, have you seen that game, Real Life, or Second Life?
Yes, of course.
So creepy.
Well,
It's
yeah.
kind of the same thing.
This book that you've written is really great, though, because you do kind of give some things to look out for, and you also give some advice on sort of detaching from the digital world and reconnecting with people in real life. Why was it so important for you to do that in this book?
I'm about to turn 30. So I grew up pre-social media, but I'm very much now kind of addicted, I think, like everybody else, or many of us. And it's really hard to manage your real life versus your online life. And I've been lucky that I've had enough life experience to understand and appreciate friendship and connection and relationships. But I think a lot of younger people don't really have that. They don't really understand the value of a friend and what it really means to be in love and be vulnerable and compromise and share yourself with someone. And there's so much pressure now from the outside, judging you and making you feel self-conscious about who you are and how likable you are and how you represent yourself. And I just want to kind of remind people that it's not about how many people like you and how many strangers you can kind of get the approval of, but rather liking yourself and finding a few people who are really, caring and considerate of who you are.
So break down some of the red flags for us. If you are online, you're talking to somebody, they live in a different state. What are the red flags?
Well, I know it's sort of an old cliche, but I've never had a situation where it didn't apply. If it seems too good to be true,
It is.
it almost definitely is. If they're everything you're looking for and more, and if they're constantly flooding you with attention and affection, and if they seem to have the right answer for everything, yes, maybe you found your sort of Disney prince or princess, but
Chances
are maybe not. But of course, in terms of specifics with Facebook pages, which everyone seems to have nowadays, and that's how a lot of these people sort of connect, look at how many friends they have. If it's very few or way too many, that's usually a little bit of a red flag. Are there friends in photos with them? A lot of people will just find photos of someone, they'll use them, and they'll just post the sort of single pictures of them.
And you said they're so sophisticated, they'll go ahead and save a
Right.
lot of photos.
No, we see that. So someone
wow.
will decide they want to present themselves as someone and they're not. They'll find someone online, they'll download all their pictures, they'll have an archive, and then they'll send them to you sort of one by one, or they'll post them slowly. So one thing you can do if you are concerned is ask them for a photo of them doing something or holding something specific, because it's unlikely that they'll have had a photo that they
Like
found.
today's newspaper?
Yeah.
Well, that works, or even just something random like a flower and a mug, whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. It can be silly, because you don't want to be like, show me a picture.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if they don't have any of their friends tagged in the photos that they post, if they do post photos of friends, that's weird. Of course, there are some more sophisticated catfish, like in my case, where they'll make friend accounts for all the people in that picture.
Wow.
I give up.
It can happen.
Yeah.
But you can search people's phone numbers,
Yeah.
make sure
Google,
the area
right?
code matches where they say they live.
Interesting.
There's a reverse image search, which you can take pictures that they've sent you. Go to images.google.com, drop the picture into the search bar, and it'll show you if it shows up on other people's profiles. So that's a good way to go. But I mean, drama
That's cool. I
is a
didn't know
big
you
red
could
flag.
do that with images.
Yeah. You can
Very
reverse
interesting.
image search. And then of course, if they can't send you a video message, something's up.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, someone in their house or school or town's got to have an iPhone that they can just record a little video
Right,
and email
right.
it
And
to you.
who's
I
not
am so
Skyping
glad
with
I'm
all
Or
this
married.
just
distance?
FaceTime. How about just
Yeah,
FaceTime?
well, if they
Yeah.
don't have technology or if they can't afford it,
Who doesn't
there's
have
a
technology?
library.
I'll get it for
I know,
you.
I
I'll get
know.
it for
I'm just
you.
I'm
saying.
so glad I'm married.
Wow, Neve, thank you so much. Very interesting, riveting
Very.
information, and I think everybody should get this book and read away on what's something we never heard of called catfishing. And once again, you can meet Neve tonight. Pick up a signed copy of his book. It's tonight at 7 p.m. at the Barnes & Noble store just off Northwest Highway and 75 across from North Park Mall. All right, we've got to jet off to a Taste Texas shoot. I'm actually leaving, and I don't want you to go anywhere because one of our very favorite dining destinations is back. You know, you saw us earlier at Snuffers. They're back. They're serving up another tasty idea. This time, it's their famous Snufferita. It's cocktail time. We'll be right back.